Hey folks, Nick Tockert here with the Historical Fencing Guild. Before we get into your comments and the discussion of the day, we have some bills to pay. First and foremost, we want to put a big shout out to the Independent Creator Directory. That's indiecd.org. That is your one-stop shop for having an online presence that you don't have to worry about expensive reoccurring fees or deplatforming. It's run by a man by Joe Bachman, who I know is a man of integrity and honor. And he has set up a community where small independent creators can find like-minded folks. I'm sorry, my suspenders are rolling. And people looking to hire direct, without the fear of all this stuff with AI and everything, can go. So the great folks, great programs. We're also made possible by sales of, there's a 50% chance, The Simple Sword, The Fighting Axe, and The Simple Spear. Those two books are currently out of reach. This is my backup copy. My ongoing series of manuals of defense to teach basic swordsmanship in a way that is easy to understand and is capable of making it available for everyone, to the point where colored illustrations and stick figures, folks, to explain complex systems of defense in a clear and concise manner. So that's chiefly and most importantly, we are made possible by our amazing Patreon folks over at patreon.com/the Historical Fencing Guild. I do, right now, it's about a bi-weekly, because I've had some issues, Patreon only blog. They get first cracks at any non-live videos I do, and a whole bunch are coming. And they basically get to decide the content and discussion of large parts of this channel because they are paying to help keep the lights on. So if you want to be a part of it, as little as $1 a month helps me keep my lights on and afford to buy training gear and equipment to review for you guys so that you don't have to buy stuff you don't like. We also are made possible, and I don't have is there a clip? There is a clip. We are also made possible by yes, there it is, if I go to the right place. This link, which is in the comments, and that is my affiliate link with Purple Heart Armory, where it costs you nothing. But if you want to buy quality gear, much of it made in America, you can. Right at PHA. It's basically my favorite supplier. That's why I reached out to them and made this connection. Please use this link, and I will get a small percentage of the sales. But more importantly, they'll know what I'm talking about is important. So when I reach out to them to say, hey, can you make a trainer that does this? They can. They have several trainers I am absolutely lusting after, because at this point, I collect more trainers than I do steel. It works easier that way. But that is on the menu. I do have an item I will be reviewing that did not come from them. But, and see, there's a Patreon link for the folks who need it. I had to get some things fixed. And we're going to discuss that. But before we do, I want to hit the comments real quick, see how everybody's doing. And because it's quiet chat tonight. And first through the door is Thesis and says, Foxy's on the train heading back home. Well, I can't wait till she's safe and home and in your arms where she belongs. And we're joined by Alk. Hi, Alk. Nice. Hope the trip back home goes well. And Thesis says, well, considering she's 4.5 hours behind schedule. Oh no. Well, yeah. Oh no. We're very sorry to hear that. Thanks. Well, hopefully she'll come home and you'll be distracted from this lovely stream and have a wonderful time with your loving wife. I do have something new to show you guys that I'm going to talk about. Let's rewind to why this object's in my hand. First off, while I am very pronouncedly a Western martial artist, I have from times dabbled in more Eastern oriented arts, both a little bit of Iaido about 3 lifetimes ago. And in the old days, I used to do some Jin with rather well known YouTuber Sword Sage before he was a well known YouTuber. But as people who know, I have been doing my physical therapy with, yes, the return of Booby the Squeezy Square. But, and I have been switching to lighter weapons, such as the polypropylene rapiers, which looks like a toy, which is much nicer for certain legal issues that can crop up. I am a firm believer, liking the police, to think what I have is a toy and thus be less entangled. But that brings us to something odd. This. Now, before we go any further, I did slightly modify this in that it came with a very, very long tassel of low grade that I believe is hung up in my living room. It may have been stolen by my cats. However, this is a collapsible, usually referred to as a Tai Chi sword, but a Jin, for doing Tai Chi practice that is incredibly lightweight. Got a little bit of red. And, oh, hi, we're joined by Cindy Kep. Cindy, this might be interesting for you if you've seen one of these, because this looks like a sword, it functions like a sword, but it is not a sword. It is made of very thin metal. It is metal, and it has an incredibly blunt, flat tip and no edge whatsoever except at the telescoping points. I would not use this for any type of sparring, but I do believe that it would hold up very nicely for those of us with extreme grip or weight issues. As in, we're talking in ounces or grams, the weight of this. This is nothing. And it's got about a 22-inch blade, I think. I have to check my notes later. But it weighs very little. It is, however, properly balanced, ironically. So it's a little tippy for the tremendously lack of weight. But I can use this and do all my drills. And it collapses. See, one of the great sufferances. Now, you'll notice I get down to this last one and I put the end cap on. That is because if you don't collapse this with the included end cap, don't lose the end cap, it can actually be a little sharp and pinchy on there. But this is a great SSO. That's sword simulating object for anyone new. Let me do it like this so that my mic isn't interfering too much. I like this length because obviously the full length of the sword is just adequate. It's about a hand width from being proper length for me, which means it's much less likely to bump into things whilst I am drilling. It is lightweight, and here's the kicker. The kicker is, and now I am an Amazon Prime member, so I get free shipping, but this cost me a whopping $10.49. So this is very inexpensive. Now, I would not put this to any contact, not concussive, not light. I would not contact with this, but I do find it to be quite delightful with my assorted limitations and the fact that it closes up to this size so it won't interfere, excuse me, I have a bit of a hiccup, with what we're doing. So I am very amused. And yes, Alex says, you pulled that out at the RPG. Yes, I pulled a bit of a magic trick and pulled what looked like to the kids a full-length sword out of the shorts that I was wearing during the last night's RPG session, which you have to forgive me a little bit of fun. But sometimes you need to have a bit of fun. And again, it's only $10. It is totally harmless. It is basically weightless. It does have a hazard in that I would be careful using it out in any community, because this is very much at a distance. I mean, it's beautifully shiny. So this is something that the police would treat as a real weapon if they came up upon you and saw it. So that might be a good time to calmly grab it by the butt and push it, with the stopper or something. We'll just chuck it on the ground. Go, it's just a toy. I train with it. It's $10. It ain't worth dying over. Now, it is not made of the highest quality, and I believe they used a very nice copper paint, judged by the paint smudges in a few places, to make the lovely guards. But it is pretty darn handy. I put out enough fires today to get certified as a firefighter. I believe it. Can you go work in Canada for a while? Very interesting. I think I have that exact collapsible sword. It's bent because an idiot used it for sparring, and that's why I rescued it. I fully understand that. I would love to see one of these made of carbon fiber, so it would be basically sparable, even though you understand that it would collapse on the thrust. But you don't need to do a lot of heavy thrusting with gin, ironically. Pretty. Oh, it's beautiful, kitty. And again, for anybody who just wants to flow with a short sword and get a feel for it, it's one of those, as a sword simulating object, especially with places with legal requirements about swords, or limited space and storage. This is a really handy device. Now, I will be looking to see if they sell any that don't have the, steel appearing blade, because as wonderful as this is, and I don't know if the expansion sound that this thing makes carries over, but it is so satisfying as simply just a beautiful telescoping sword. And I've always wanted one, but I couldn't justify it because I knew I couldn't fight with it, and I couldn't find a reason. But then I realized that because of my extreme grip weakness, which I'm still working on, I need to find lighter opportunities for weapons to demonstrate. And this is also one heck of a fidget toy for someone like me. I actually worked up quite a sweat last night. I had a bad night insomniacking after trying to get a bunch of work done. Hence the reason the House of Usher wall has crumbled. I am in the middle of resetting my study. Because tomorrow I will be joined by Joe Bachman and Trelena Bachman, and Joe may want to stick his nose in here to possibly look at the computers and see how things are going. So I have a lot of work ahead of me. I'm basically going through 5 years of neglect. But I will say, and this is just the cheapo I found on Amazon for $10. If you allow it to be what it is, which is a non-contact sword simulating object for training, for just working through. I mean, I wouldn't even poke targets much. This is just for body mechanics. At $10 in this day and age, it's almost as expensive as the cutout to get the PVC to make the assorted PVC trainers. So if this is your jam, I really think it could benefit a lot of people. I of course want to hear what you have to say about it, but especially for folks who simply can't have a sword because um, this would be great for Ricky. My where my brother lives, he's not allowed to have weaponry per the rules. And if he wanted something he could train with, well, it got gouged at some point. But if he wanted something he could train on, this isn't a bad choice. A simple wooden dowel will do it as well. And Alex says it was hilarious. Trust me, I'm glad you enjoyed it. So that's what a grower looks like. Thank you, Johnny. Johnny's coming in. Just as subtle as ever. I'm having fun. A new peddler has come to Fort Northwatch for the kids, named affectionately Old Man John, who is hunched and sells items of interesting nature. So take that what you will, because a few of those players are very much recruitable, and who knows? Who knows? Now, Alex over there sitting there, wait, what? Maybe, maybe not. I may be messing with Alec as well. You don't know, and that's what makes it beautiful. Most of my coworkers were out today for the holiday, and it's the end of the quarter, so multiple clients had stuff that had to be done today. I am so sorry. Um, what holiday? I'm sorry. I'm genuinely perplexed. I missed what holiday it is or is coming up. So please let me know. But I'm doing much better now, and that's what we want to hear. We want you to be doing much better now. Let's see. Mine is missing the plastic stopper and tassel, but I'm 99% sure it's the same sword. Probably. Sounds like what I imagine the Wolverine claws would sound like in the comic books. Yeah, isn't that? It's so visceral. It could be fun. It is, and it's great for if you have a form you're training in, and you really want to work it somewhere where you don't want to get in trouble. That's why I'm not going to lie, you sprang immediately to mind. It's great for doing forms indoors because if you don't have space, you can keep it collapsed and still do the movements. It's right, because you still have the grip, so you can leave the stopper on and just work through the motions nice and slow and keep everything flowing fluid. And then you can whip it open where you have room and work through there. I think it's a great opportunity because if you have weight limitations, which a lot of us have, having little to no weight, but something to guide you to keep your angles right allows you to do the slow ultralight repetitions that have helped me get back. And I found I found that was a great tool in my journey for building back up. And recently, looking at Booby the Squeezy Square, I had to think about it because near the end of July, the Historical Fencing Guild will be opening for the Gary Chicago Theater's summer season. And we will be doing some type of demo tomorrow with Joe and Trey. I'll be starting to discuss it, and we'll figure out what we think we can do and what I can do. And then we will move on from there to see what works. It's a very exciting, very kind of intimidating time because I have gone from being told I'll be lucky if I can ever hold a pencil again, and I will never be able to do anything to build my strength, to having to work for about 6 months, 8 months to earn the right to squeeze this sponge from my occupational therapist to be that weak to the point where with light gear, I can drill again. And I am in no way hesitant to express what a miracle that represents. He says, you can do fan forms with it as well, and the wrist movements to open the fan will extend the sword. Oh my, I suppose that would work. Interesting thought, Kitty. And let's see. Alex, Anitsuga Horn headband appeared in his pocket. Yes. I was so happy. I'm glad. Got a selection of good things on sale, stranger. Indeed you do. Oh, 4th of July. Jeez. They're making a long weekend of it this weekend. Oh, I forgot that that's in the middle of next week. Benton County, especially my part of Benton County, has been basically under stranglehold of the smoke. And because of my sensitivities, between the smoke and then the rain, I was about a week where I couldn't leave the house for any length of time. The only reason I was able to actually go to my RPG night for the library was that the thunderstorms that were ongoing just pulled it out of the air enough I could comfortably go do my program and then DD Mao back home. It was still pretty rough on me. Whatever combination of what's burning and whatever chemicals have been released under the cover of the smoke really has inflamed my whole breathing tract. And I suspect that was why my breathing was getting really bad before the smoke fully got here. So it's been limited. The list field is now currently a huge dandelion garden. I don't even know. I'm going to have to go out with my Thwicker and take them down one at a time. We went from extreme heat to water, and it just, everything funked up. So that's going to be my son. Folks making a long weekend of it. That makes sense. Yeah, I'm going out to many festivals for the 4th, including tomorrow. Not that excited. Oh, I'm sorry. It's a little light for my taste, but for people who don't have strength or stability for a sword, I would use it. Now, you don't know this, but many years ago, I was in Chinatown with my buddy Frank, and I bought the classic wooden Tai Chi sword. It is downstairs by my Boken and a very, very expensive katana I was given as a gift for training a gentleman's daughter so that she would be safe to go to Japan. But long story. I have many of them. But yes, for somebody with full strength, I would recommend a wooden jin if you want something like this that isn't going to get you potentially in as much trouble if you go to a park where you have to drill outside, because they won't see the problem with it. You understand? Oh, the burn ban is lifted. That's great to know, because that means I get to blow some stuff up probably Wednesday, and I am really in need of some explosive shenanigans. At Kitty, maybe. I'd like to try a fan form with it to see if it worked. I think a different type of swipe is needed. Now, I've done just enough fan form. Well, let's see. I did it very lightly on purpose. Yeah. The wrist flick that I know basically is needed to open up the fan is just about sufficient. But I mean, it takes next to nothing to extend it. If you're using your wrist, it's the same. If you're using the fingers, it'll be a little different. And there went the end cap that I now have to desperately find right over my shoulder into the biggest pile of stuff. Well, might as well extend it because it's not going to get closed down for a while. But yes, I think something like that could be useful. Nick is out here teaching people how to fend off the Yakuza. No, I have no issues or interferences with the with any crime syndicates right now, and I like to keep it that way. If you have a problem with the Yakuza, you done goofed more likely than not. I have to go for the night. Talk to you all later. Wishing you luck with cleaning, Nick. Thank you, Alec. Good night. Get some rest. So we've done that. I was going to use my fancy setup to possibly hit PHA, see if anything new is there. But I wanted to talk about that because I thought, given some of the needs, it may be very useful, especially at that cost, and that there's no pre-setup, because there are a lot of people right now. Yes, I am not currently entangled or having any current issues with any active illegal organizations. I can't speak to the future, and the past is the past, so why worry about it? I missed the part where you acquired the amusing SSO. My pleasure to answer that question. I acquired that through Amazon for $10 roughly. Let me see just for a moment. We'll go to Amazon. And we will go to my orders. And I am doing this off the screen because you do not need to I believe. Yes, I'm sorry. It was $11.95. And if I'm doing this right, let's go here. Yes. What happened is I paid $1 more to have it a bit quicker. Now, so that's the link. I don't get anything for that link. That isn't an affiliate link. That is just the exact model I acquired. It's an item that there are multiples like. There's one that's $1 cheaper, but there at the time there was a shipping thing. Is that a single or a double? Now I'm curious about something. Oh. Whilst I was looking at that copy. Oh, I didn't have a leather case with mine. But I'm sharing a link because there are 2 fans for $13. They're not going to be of any real quality, but you could practice and draw with them to also because Cindy came to mind. So they might be good ones that you can take out, and if you lose, you're not out. Or if you're showing somebody and you want to teach them, you can pass what you know on very easily. Because once you reach a level of proficiency, it's good to start aiding and passing it on wherever possible. Just saw those fans too. So, again, I get no kickbacks on that. That's just me trying to help you guys find inexpensive gear that works. Okay. It didn't land in the garbage can, so I should be able to recover easy. But finding gear that works for you is always one of the biggest adventures. For example, I am going to be on the hunt for the right gloves to fight in that will look good by next month. So I may actually have to throw some money at PHA and order some light fencing gloves to go with my pretty outfit, in which I will be able to roast ungodly for the demo, because I want to look. Okay. Too bad there aren't any rope dart trainers out there that I have found. I had to make my own with some plans that Thesis gave. Well, I think the problem with rope darts is it's very hard to make a trainer that isn't actually just a rope dart. And it's so much simpler to just, if you're going to have a rope dart, make a rope dart to use. Now, I see no reason why a chunk of PVC couldn't be used as a very lightweight one, but let me check something. While I have you here, rope dart practice, rope dart trainer. Yeah, well, what they usually sell are meteor balls, it looks like, as trainers that are soft, so you won't have the impact. But let me see. If you were looking for a safer trainer that isn't necessarily steel, let me see if I can't help you with that while we're here. And again, I am just using Amazon because in this case, something like that might work. Now let's see what we have. Some paracord, a swivel from a nunchuck, and making kitten racquetball. Yes, very similar to what they are selling, and yours is likely less expensive. Be careful with plastic fans. One broke sharp on me and cut the back of my arm because I was in the middle of a move. That is a thank you for that warning, Cindy, because that's really quality content, information for the people who want to know. So being able to look at these things, and I'm glad that we could find both, marketed and home versions. I'd like to see something a little less full on. But I'm really not seeing one otherwise. So I think that might be the best way to go with it. Yep, Amazon sells a lot of rope darts. I'm surprised they don't sell more plastic ones. Although there's a staggering thought of Cold Steel does sell a dart, a stabbing dart kind of thing. I think they call it the dart in their FX line, which is either carbon fiber or plastic, which could work. Hello, some person. I hope you're having a good night. We are just talking gear and equipment. I recently acquired this lovely collapsible sword. I will not be collapsing fully. Well, I can on the table. It has an end cap, but I was gesturing and I launched the end cap somewhere behind me. And the last breakdown makes this lovely cookie cutter shape that's really not handy to hit your fingers. That's the downside of this particular trainer. But it works surprisingly well. I give it a proper swipe as a training tool, and I think you guys will like it for the right people. I'm currently working on my plans for a fan using a metal or wooden rulers for my Foxy. Well, that's delightful. there are a lot of really unusual trainers that are out there. And if you don't want to purchase the trainers as is, I love that you're going through the methodology of finding ways to make your own. That is definitely what the Historical Fencing Guild is about. The martial arts trainers are a little odd that I'm seeing go through here, but they are functional. It's just seeing what's available. And it is interesting what they lump with the martial arts trainers, which is part of why I am not necessarily sharing my screen. I'm currently working on my plans for yes. You can reenact Hamlet with that. I can reenact a lot of things, and I wish it were just a touch sturdier. Because if it was a touch sturdier, I could use it as part of the demo, and it would be very pretty. Although my Eastern forms are absolute garbage these days. I'm building back up, and so there's so much modification to what I've done that getting it, doesn't really blend well. Reminds me of those knife toys we had when kids. You stabbed a friend and the blade collapsed in the handle. Yes, I had such things. That it's interesting. It's an interesting item. I'm almost tempted to think that something like that could be rigged to be a great method for building up building up what we have, building up the actual training, because it would be so cool to have an actual collapsible rapier on the idea of, okay, I've now stabbed. Am I over penetrating? Am I under penetrating? Having a measure of that. Yes, I'm that old. I also remember the cap guns with rolled paper and plastic. Okay, fun story. I will give you a fun story free of charge. I've been, those who know me know about the big stompy robots and know I've been building little toys out of thrown away garbage for decades. As a little kid, I did this. Now, because my father was a veteran, I was not allowed guns that look like, I wasn't allowed toy guns that look like guns. I had sci-fi blasters, pew, 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 and blessed are the Nerf guns, or else I would have had nothing. But actually, Nerf guns really influenced a lot of my life, if I think about it. It's kind of scary. But I was out on the playground at school, and I found this really cool thing. It was a ring about this big with 8 little cups, little cylinders, evenly spaced around it. And I had no idea what it was, but I'm like, that would look so cool as part of one of my projects, as like rocket engines or something. But one of them had this white junk stuck inside of it. So I was in 3rd grade, ignoring the teacher, as one does. And I had a stick, and I'm just trying to wiggle out, the stuff that was in it. What I didn't know, that obviously people who've been around such a toy knows, that's a ring cap. And that's a little, for people who are maybe out of country. Those caps were for cap guns, where a little striker would hit. There's a small amount of gunpowder, and it will go boom. Now, in the 80s, our school desks were wood on top of a U-shaped, flat-backed kind of box. So I had this thing, and I'm just half paying attention to the teacher because I don't have to look at it. I'm just going to rub whatever that weird dirt is out of there. Boom! It explodes. Now, of course, it does no real damage, but, because the friction lit the gunpowder. But it was in the metal box. So it echoes, and it scared me. So I flew back, straightened out my feet, and fell on my back. And, of course, the offending ring went flying over my shoulder into the heatilator. So everyone turns around, my desk exploded. What's going on? I don't know. And then, they're looking around trying to figure out what happened because it was, it was set to detonate. It just boom. They couldn't figure it out, and I didn't even know. It took me a second to put, a few pieces together. Kitty says, Thesis had told a similar story with paper rolls and a burn barrel. Yeah, I don't know what this is. Tink, boom. My dad never allowed us around fireworks or anything like that. Very, very fitting coming up on the 4th of July. Where America celebrates its independence by spending vast fortunes on Chinese fireworks to blow up. Because our theme song, I lost the word national anthem and my brain sped out theme song. Anyway, the American theme song has the phrase, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air. And we all went, gave light, truth to the lie, that the flag was still there. And we took that seriously. So, that's why there will be a great many explosions in the middle of the week, making everyone tired. And that tomorrow will be probably far more interesting than I thought, because I've been operating thinking I had one more week of the month. Oh, I knew what it was. I just know what would happen if you threw a handful of them into a burn barrel. Of course, it was the hand of a 10-year-old, but jeez, that would do it. Dangerous toys are fun until somebody gets hurt. When lighting small fireworks, don't light two at once. Don't hold two at once. One will light, and the other won't, and boom, that's not a happy thing to happen in your hand. Yeah, folks, I used to do a lot of fireworks because that's what happens when you couldn't as a kid and you get out on your own. And my beloved nephew, George, who recently lost one of his friends, and I'm kind of pulling for him, he calls it Pyro Christmas. It's his favorite holiday. But I have seen low breaks. I have seen mortar shells explode in tubes. I have had things shot at me by drunk people. Be careful. Be careful with this stuff. Alcohol and explosives don't mix. I should not have to say that, but really, alcohol and explosives don't mix. I know people who've been hurt. I have friends who are professional fireworks workers. They full Nomex suits doing the big shows on barges and stuff. And every year, one of them does something. Oh, remember the little colored smoke balls? I have some. If you light several at the same time, it makes black smoke and the fire department gets called. Yep. Yes, it does. I am no longer happy with fireworks. I no longer have flashing light protection that actually works. I am so sorry, Cindy. And it really is tragic that, there are people who can't enjoy the same fun as other folks because of that. But I just hope you have the extra safe, stay home kind of scenario and aren't too bombarded by the blasts. Sorry, the martial arts training equipment came up, and I'm in the middle of having to redo my yard. I've explained it. I have a new throwing target built that I will be using in the very near future to clean out the list field. But one of two things is going to happen with the local guildie types. More of them are going to be able to come down regularly, and I will keep catering towards them. Or I am going to switch it a bit, my plans, and make sure it better fits my personal needs, as well as keeping a rig for their interests. And it's just one of those, it's going to go one way or another, and I haven't quite decided which way. So that's something that's being contemplated. And that means I'm looking at different gear and facilities. A lot of times it's look at the professional version of the gear, right? And go, that's cool. And go, I can do the same thing with much less expensive versions. So, for example, let me see if I can bring this up, because this actually looks like something that could be of use. Oh, let's see. Move tab to new window. And then, sorry, I hadn't planned on broadcasting things, but I will in just a moment. Present. Share screen. Oh, I have to fix that because and okay, cool. Because I have to adjust it slightly so I'm not just completely doxing myself, so to speak. There we go. But I see this rig, right? And what kind of... yeah, okay. I can work with that. I see this rig. Yes, please. And what it is it gives resistance to punch and steps to theoretically build up your grip strength. Now, this whole combo runs, what does it say, $40? Cool. It runs $40 on sale. My thought is, well, shoot, all I would need is the right size bungee cords and then some type of attachment that would work, especially because I'm more interested in the upper arms. So run from like a belt clip to some kind of a wrist brace and run a proper bungee cord of the right length that come. Let's see. I'm no longer happy with fireworks because I have a dog's terrified. They will light them, yes. Plus, my patriotism for this country has taken a hit over the last 5 years. I can understand that. I'd be wary about it from wary about breaking mid punch. A lot of that depends. So you have to measure it out and make sure whatever you're using isn't the full max, because you only want a little bit of resistance. You don't need huge overpowered resistance, at least for most of us. I mean, if you're very athletic, you might need something like that. But for a few bucks, you could try it and see if it's worked. Resistance bands from physical therapy work. Yeah. Johnny, of course, is taking it there. I'll be real with you. It looks like it should be attached to a bed if you catch my meaning. Yes, I see exactly where you went with that. But I'm sorry. Been hit by a flying bungee cord. Too stretchy, Johnny. They get away too easy. Okay, guys, remember. Oh, no. Well, we had a minor present, so we got to be careful. But I do see your point. However, let me just go here for a second. Looking at gear that's sold can give you some great ideas for equipment that maybe you didn't think of, but could be of great use to you later. I have several what were called force bags. At least I have one that I know is uh, in contact, and that looks something like this, which means if I go here, a force bag is something that is like a targeting punch bag you hold up like a shield. Because I worked with special needs people, and because of Xander, especially in his youth, while I was helping him, he needed something that he could, when he was extremely angry, could work out through that because he couldn't express it. He didn't know how. So using something like a force bag can be a very wonderful tool, and they are rather expensive, but they are very useful. They also make decent shields for shield work. Let's see, am I losing anything left to right here? No. But looking through the gear that some people come up with, like I love this. This is hilarious. This is delightful. This is a very expensive thing, except if you go to a dollar store, you can pick up a handball that would normally strap. It's on elastic. You could just shorten it and put it there if you wanted. I love this gear. This is almost, I could almost do a review of the funniest training gear that I see. So I really, I don't really see the sanity in this, but things like this interest me, and we need to. Oh, my comments aren't showing up. Give me a second. No comment. I'm all for the comic potential, though. Exactly. I also find those resistance bands for archery. You can use different resistances for different pull strokes to keep up with your bow. That's another great way to dial down. I recently acquired a recurve that I have to get a new string for that is not terribly powerful, but it's good enough that I could possibly get back into archery at a limited stage. Saw someone put one of those big pads on the corner of the wall to do shin kicks. It fell mid-kick motion. Y'all fill in the rest of the story. Yeah, that's why you want to secure any target you have or make very carefully. It's a punchy corn. That sounds like some kind of deranged Pokemon. I choose you, punchy corn. Punchy corn. But let's see what we have here. Now, that being said, a good mitt is a wonderful. The targeting mitts are absolutely wonderful things to have when you're working with somebody, even doing careful sword work. If you are balanced, if you have worked on stuff. That looks inflatable, so I doubt that would hold up well, but it's interesting to see. And see, the exact same rig, basically set for legs only for 10. So looking through the gear, you will see hilarious gear, and then you will see gear that could be useful. I am fascinated a little bit by the Wing Chun rings as a tool for building outward strength because it's rigid resistance. Things like that could really help with just building your form. Clappers are great. They did an Anderson Silva. Yep. Foxy and I found a clapper kick target at our second-hand store for a few years ago. That's wonderful. Bless you. Thank you. Good golly. I mean, Mandy, the guild says bless you.
Oh, thank you.
She says thank you. And yes, she is all the way in the other room. Oh, those rings are awesome. Yeah, and for $10, it's something I might consider trying, uh, just to build out my outer parry strength. Because if I'm only working against my own strength, I should balance my arms out better, and then be able to uh, build up from that, so that I'm always fighting myself. It's part of the forms. I'm chasing some new forms and new techniques because some of the conversations that have been thrown my way. I need to do a recalibration in my training and in my situation. I'm back to carrying a full length knife on me instead of just a little one. Not sure if that's a good thing, but it happens. So I want to make sure what form I have is available and effective. So you found, let me see, because you said a kick, and I think that was up here, wasn't it? No, well, maybe. I have to find something, sorry. Yeah, you found one of those. That's cool. Now, you don't practice Wing Chun, but got a wooden one and a metal one to strengthen my wrist. It works. Thank you. That's really something that's useful for me personally to know, because I need to build my arm strength best I can in ways that doesn't involve my grip strength, because my grip strength issues are nerve and nerve slide based. So basically, the strength I have may be all the hand strength I ever have due to things. It may grow, continue to regenerate, but I can't bet on that. So I'm looking for options to build the other strengths I have, and I really do appreciate that. Let's see, is there anything else that needs to be here? Not really. I think we're getting a little repetitive now. Rebreakable boards don't interest me, so let's go to One Swords question mark click set 1545. But there we are, and we'll come back. Don't know why it did that, but I will tell you, I did not see anything very exciting in the daily deals when I was looking at them. View all deal of the days, but mini helmets, the same. These shields are wonderful, but they're expensive. Let's see, it's similar principle of a wooden dummy. You're hitting your wrists at a rigid target to build up strength and blunt force resistance. That makes sense. However, it's more pressure if I could do it, because what I need is the pressure, not necessarily the impact, because again, the impact is going to fire off the nerves and cause problems. But we will see. Yeah, there's nothing really exciting here, which is fine. I try to check these guys for you, and I am reviewing and seeking out new gloves, so I may just show you some of the gloves I was looking at if that's something you guys are at all interested, because I need to adjust my gear. And I am currently, with my price range, really considering the one of these two sets of gloves, which one's actual leather, one's similar. But because I've looked at these for a few years, and they should fit inside the riggings, and they come in large and extra large. I'll have to measure the sizing to double check, because I have wide hands. And then I probably will invest in a set of the fingertip protectors, because they are very, very nice to have. I need to rebuild my gear again. So you can also practice one person push hands chi sao with them for pressure, and that's where I was going to go because I used to do push hands with John Miner when he was local. He was instructing me and such, and that was something that was very therapeutic and really. I will tell you, push hands helps with the bind, but I'm going to close this down because what? Oh, sorry, sorry about that. Got bounced off uh, my feed for just a second. We've got a little bit of internet instability, but it's a good system for understanding. And honestly, the push hands really helped me when I was dealing with the aggressive clients because I was able to better redirect, full body attack to just go over there for a moment. Now, can we think about no, go over there? And yes, it's an awesome two-person drill to understand body mechanics, and it's one I'd like to get back into. Once I pass the fast form, my next stop is saber and push hands. Push hands will be great for you. By saber, do you mean Chinese saber / Dao, or do you mean Western saber? He's back. Yes, I am back. Oh, where did the city go? Kang the Mad. Depending on who your partner is, I think it would be good for you. See, we are in agreement. Starting with fixed step push hands. Very good. Very good. That's some man. It's been, well, let's see, 2008. So nearly 16 years since I was heavily into that. But we can get back there, I think. It's going to be a matter of building up and finding what works. And from there, adapting it to what we do. Does this sound repetitive? Buddha saber. Okay. I know what they're talking about. If it's Buddha saber, if that's most likely going to be oh wait, no, I go here. I'm sorry, I have to fix everything because it's glitched. I'll make sure that that's what I'm thinking it is. Images. Yep. That's a Dao form. I'm almost certain it's a Dao. So you're probably going to want, well, actually, since we live in the land of PHA, give me just a second to get everything recalibrated because it decided to be ornery. Dao. Let's see how well their search works. Ooh. Oh no. Okay. Hold on, because now my world is slightly problematic. Present. Share screen. PHA. Boom. Here we go. This is actually, if you were going to go PHA, lightweight, they do sell wooden Dao, but this is actually probably lighter. Let me look real quick at the weight: 1 pound, 12 ounces. So that's going to give you less weight. And the blade length is 29 inches. So this should be very nice for a flowing dowel for you. And yeah, I would say you need a wrist brace. Now, that we mentioned dowel, I did not know that they did the fancy synthetic version. Oh, that is sexy. That is just gorgeous. Now let's look at this. The Purple Heart Type 3, 27. Oh no. 34 inches overall. Oh, that's gorgeous, friends. 34, 20, so 3 to get to 34, 7-inch grip. Point of balance is where? 4.25. So the point of the balance is a little past the fuller. Oh, friends, that's gorgeous. I bet that just sings. Let me see what this is. Yes, I think that just sings. You may have some weight problems, but the wooden ones should actually be lighter. This one may be your best bet, although I know you're not allowed swords, and I'm not sure how sword simulating objects get. But there's a lot of potential there, and I would really think about that. So, and yes, you will definitely need a wrist brace. Let me come back here and come back here. So, this weekend teachers, what's this? This weekend teachers and some of the students are at a competition in Orlando. How cool is that? I hope they bring back video footage. There's so much you can learn from video footage of the different styles and trainers. It's the version of going to a bout and just sitting and paying attention, which I've learned so much doing over the years. But we are over my hour, and I am going to need to drink a vast sum because I'm already getting quite hot. And frankly, my study's a disaster. So I may need to call it here if you guys don't mind. Yeah, not sure how roomies will appreciate me practicing with a sword. Well, again, something like this might not be a bad idea. My knowledge of Dao forms isn't as extensive as Jin forms, but I'm not sure if you need assistance, I can offer what I do know. Thank you, Thesis. Cool, thanks. And with that, guys, I appreciate that support. I have a big something I acquired announcement that I want to show off. I've been after one of these for a very long time. So that should come in a video at some point this week. 3 Dao forms. I like Dao. I like Dao more than I like Jin a lot of the time. Don't tell people I'll lose my reputation as a fencer, but I really do appreciate Dao. I just don't know if I can do it anymore. Weight being weight. However, we will look into it. Ponder. Because it's so fluid. I do love a good fluid style. With that, guys, I think we need to call it so that I can take a quick break, drink something, and get back to work on this for my visitors tomorrow. And I hope you guys all have a safe 4th of July. Keep training, guys. Keep your guards up. Be kind to yourself and each other. And as always, thank you for supporting your local swordmaster. Oh, 2 of them from Shaolin and 1 from Wudong. Cool. Well, Thesis, if you have good videos or reference, throw them up on the Historical Fencing Guild public group. And I'll see if I can find any of the DAO stuff I used to play with. If not, I'll look around for new stuff. Gives me a nice research rabbit hole as a reward after I'm done with this. So I will see you all. Have a lovely evening. Toodles, folks.